Hello, I hope you're doing well and that you're having a wonderful day so far. I would love to know what books you're currently reading, and this is my intro to this month's reading vlog. The month of May was a really good reading month for me, and I felt as though I read a lot of texts that were very thought-provoking and sort of reignited my curiosity to discover more about the world and about myself and my values and principles, and just to reflect on my place in the world and the duties that I have to those around me. Most of the books that I read were quite short. The most memorable ones have been James and the Giant Peach, because that's a movie that I really liked as a child, and I've never read the book, and so I wanted to reread it before I rewatched the movie. And also Blindness. Blindness was a book that I've heard nothing about. I went into it blindly. Essentially, at the start of the book, it's this man, he's at a red light, and he's waiting for it to turn green. Before it turns green, he goes blind. And instead of seeing darkness or all black, he sees white. It's like a very bright light turned on all the time. And this epidemic slowly spreads to those around him, and the government tries to contain it and fails to do so. The book is essentially about how the laws that govern society quickly fall apart under the right pressure, and also the duties that you have to those around you. I found it to be a very disturbing read. I can't say that I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it at all, but it was very thought-provoking, and this is a book that I would really like to discuss further with anyone that has read it. Because although I finished it almost 2 weeks ago now, I can't stop thinking about it and about the things that happened within it and certain characters. Another very memorable book was Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. This book was a reread. The first time that I read this book was in middle school, and I remember being moved by it, but this time when I reread it, it broke me and it left me devastated, which I was not expecting, because I knew everything that was going to happen and I knew all of the characters, and yet knowing what I know now about the world, it just hit me so much harder than it did all those years ago. The book follows the story of Lenny and George. They are members of the working class, and you get to know their struggles and their desires for a better life. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I also read We Have Always Lived in This Castle, and I really liked it. It was very unsettling, dark, and yet funny and witty. The writing was just very captivating. I also read Claire Keegan for the first time. I read So Late in the Day and Foster. I really liked both of those stories. The book that I'm currently reading that has been consuming me is Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I'm 70% in, and I would be very surprised if I encounter a book that I end up liking more than that one. Again, this book is also about the working class and their struggles and their desire for a better life, and just their desire to be treated with dignity and as decent individuals. The book is putting into words something that makes me very angry about the world. That's all I really want to say for now. I'm going to go see one of my friends. She invited me to her exhibit. So it's currently the weekend. I had a very relaxing start to my day. The past couple of days, I haven't had that much time to read. I made quite a bit of progress in Grapes of Wrath, but I didn't really read that much of anything else, and so I'm using this morning to catch up on everything that I've been wanting to read. And so I'm determined to finish this manga this weekend, and also to read more of The Trial and at least a chapter of The God of Small Things. Right now, I'm gonna take note of something in my little pink book. I have a lot of little notebooks, and this one specifically is for keeping track of anything that inspires me or reminds me of one of my characters and their motivations within my story. Some of my inspirations are long quotations, and then others are like 2 words. For example, I took this from The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. He had always feared that this would happen, more than he had ever feared death. To die is to lose the self and rejoin the rest. He had kept himself and lost the rest. So this reminded me of, I put here villain, but the character isn't really a villain. He's just an antagonist. I think villain is the wrong word. Other things I put down: unfinished and repetitive dreams. Let's see. Seek simplicity but distrust it. I just got back from my second job, and I'm excited because I got a package. I ordered 2 books. One of them is it for me, one of them is a gift, but the other one is what I'm planning on reading this summer. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, so so this is my friend's book. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful edition of this book. This is my copy, and a lot of it really resonated with me. As you can see, I dog-eared a bunch of the pages, I underlined a bunch of the pages, and I've also written a lot of things. And then the book that I got, War and Peace. I'm pretty excited about this book. It's my first book by him, and we'll see whether or not I like it. Wow, the writing is so tiny. Okay. War and Peace is a vast epic centered on Napoleon's war with Russia. While it expresses Tolstoy's view that history is an inexorable process which man cannot influence, he peoples his great novel with a cast of over 500 characters. This is the same ribbon that I used to wrap up my brother's book, but he didn't want it, so I'm using it here again. I don't usually do this, but I ordered myself breakfast, and this is mahsoub. I tried it for the first time recently, and it's like a banana pudding with like cream and honey. It's a Yemeni dish. And then I have kabda, which is liver. Yeah, liver. So I wanted to close out the video by talking about some of the books that I read and some of the books that I didn't end up finishing, and the ones that I started and the ones that I'm really into right now. I'm gonna head out to the library, and this will be my second time borrowing books, so I'm really excited because I already have a list of the books that I want, and I'm just gonna see which ones I end up picking. The 3 books that I'm gonna return are these, so Spring Torrance, Catalan Street, and Will You Please Be Quiet Please. The only one that I didn't finish is Will You Please Be Quiet Please by Raymond Carver, and this is a collection of short stories. The few that I read I did like. It was very easy to read and at the same time quite unsettling, and it did give me something to think about, but I think I'm just not in the right mood for a collection of these. And so I read a few and I had my fill, and I think that maybe I'll pick it up again and finish it completely, but for now I'm good. Catalan Street, I finished and I loved it, even though the beginning really confused me, like the first 2 chapters or chapter. I did not know what was going on. There were so many different names and just so much going on. And I'm glad that I stuck with it. I ended up really liking it, and I can see why the author chose to format or structure the story in the way that she did. So Catalan Street follows a friend group in Budapest. The friend group is composed of 4 people, so 2 sisters, 1 boy, and 1 girl. And the story is told across different timelines, so starting with 1934, I believe, and it ends with 1961. You see how the war impacted the lives of this group of people. It's a story that's definitely gonna stay with me, even though it did make me quite sad. The major themes of the story are definitely youth and innocence and all that comes with those 2 things. Spring Torrance was a semi-autobiographical work of fiction, and it basically starts off with this man in his 50s, and he comes across this object, this item, and it reminds him of something, of someone that he lost. And then you're transported 30 years back when he was 22 or 23, and he falls in love with this woman, and you see how their story unfolds. It was quite short, but I did really enjoy it. And I think I'm definitely gonna check out other works by this author because I didn't think that I would like this as much as I did. I started War and Peace. I'm only 20 pages in. I feel like 20 pages isn't enough for me to give an opinion. But so far, I do like how witty it is, and I believe that that's a good sign. So I'll speak more on it once I make it a bit further, but right now I can't really say anything substantial. The God of Small Things. I started this several weeks ago, and for some reason it's been really hard for me to get into it, but I think that today I finally got into it because I ended up sitting down and reading about 60 pages, which is more than I've ever read in one sitting of this book. I do really like the writing, and I still don't understand how this is a debut, genuinely. I have high hopes for where this story is going. So the last book that I'm in the middle of before I head out is The Trial. And this book is another book that I'm going through surprisingly really slowly. I can't read more than a couple of pages every few days. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I think if I read this book in 2 sittings, I genuinely would not get anything out of it. The story as a concept is incredible. So basically, it's this man who gets arrested for a crime, and he has no idea what this crime is, And no one is willing to explicitly say to him, this is what you did, this is what you're arrested for. And so it's just a genuinely frustrating situation. And basically, you're following the journey of this man as he tries to figure out what is going on. And despite me reading this book at such a slow pace, I do like it. And I am compelled to finish it. I do really want to know what ends up happening in the story. Now I'm gonna go to the library, hopefully get some more books, and relax.